So what I did with Brooke is part of what I do in my intuitive life coaching. I support women in connecting to their soul essence so that they can rise above their limiting beliefs, their blocks, and their interferences that are keeping them stuck at a certain level in their life, not knowing why they're stuck. It's like they keep running around in circles. And so with this book, which is called Spiritual Response Therapy, I have all these wonderful charts that have all kinds of information, and I'm able to channel the information through me, and literally the pendulum is an extension of my energy, and it points to where I'm supposed to go. So a lot of people equate it with like the Ouija board, but in the Ouija board, you're not channeled into like the high self and true life purpose of what's going on with a person. And so as we narrow it down to the high self, we can get all the correct information, because the high self has been with you for eons of time, and it knows your soul. It's like the soul records in the Akashic records. And I'm able to find out and pinpoint the origin of where these blocks, where these limiting beliefs are, so that she can rise above it and start to feel freedom, joy, peace, and love in her life to a level that they've never experienced before. And it's amazing because I never know how it's going to affect people. Sometimes if your ego is so strong, it keeps you from allowing the energetic cleanse and spiritual energy through. But if you're open and you're willing to be vulnerable, willing to let it go, it literally releases. Some people cry, some people laugh uncontrollably. Some people later down the line, maybe in a couple months, will begin to feel it, and they're like, oh my God, how did this happen? And I have that gift, which I never realized I had before. I had to harness it, and that was doing healing work on myself and really going deep dive into the core of all of my wounds and really excavating it out so that I can be that clear and neutral channel. Because otherwise, I'm basically in transference or coming from an egoic, intelligent space of I know what you're going through, rather than really intuitively understanding what she's going through. I even felt her emotions, and I could feel the sadness that was trapped in there. And she started to get emotional, but she swallowed it down, which we do. We're afraid to get that vulnerable, and so later.
Not wearing waterproof mascara, so.
And so later she's going to be able to shift that, and it's a beautiful technique. And on top of this technique, plus my energy healing, plus understanding of the body and healing, I'm able to get through to people on so many different levels that they begin to free themselves and rise to a higher consciousness that then is able to cause ripples throughout the world in their lives and in their clients and in their healing space. So
basically what you're saying is that you're connecting to source energy.
Correct.
Or God energy, where people use different terms to describe it, but I think source is pretty
right.
Well descriptive. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the client experiences that you've had, maybe some specific shifts that people have had, different things that they've worked through and how it's helped them in their life and their businesses?
Absolutely. I had a client that came to me, and he was so jealous of a business partner. His business partner had started really making a lot of money, which, because he came to me beforehand, so these two clients worked together, but they both saw me. And it was really interesting because the one that came to me first, he was stuck at like 10 grand, making 10 grand a month, 10 grand a month. And it was his cap, and he's like, I just don't get it. It's been a year, 10 grand a month, 10 grand a month. I want to rise above that. And we actually came to a point in time where he was at work. He was kind of lazy. He didn't really care about his job. And yet that energy was carrying with him, because that energy of not holding himself in high integrity with what he does, with who he is, was keeping him from moving forward. And so as we cleared that, literally 2 weeks later, he made 15 grand in 1 month.
Oh, wow.
And then the friend that was jealous came to me and basically was like, I don't understand. I'm really pissed off at him. And basically we found out that he had been jealous of his family and brother, and it kept him from really advancing because he was withholding love and appreciation. And when you can share that joy with somebody, it's contagious. It begins to like lighten you up, and then you actually attract more money, more business.
I know someone just like
Yeah.
that, so that makes so much sense to me.
So when he was able to clear that, all of a sudden, he's rocking his business. So we don't even realize where they came from, but mostly it's from our past history in childhood, or a very nonchalant relationship, or even through past lives, because we're repeating a story that we've never realized that we're continuing to repeat, and we're with the same characters, just different form.
Oh
So,
yeah, I've been there
yeah.
in my life, like with the repeated being taken advantage of, not feeling good enough, like that sort of thing, being the victim, even though my ego is saying I'm not a victim, I'm strong, I'm powerful, like I work through it, but like subconsciously I'm in that victim mindset, because that's what I was a victim as a child, I was a victim as a teenager, I was a victim to like having health problems and having a child that was diagnosed with autism, and so my whole life was just like one story after another of like either someone taking advantage of me because I was kind, or just falling into that victim role. And it's only been recently through working with people who do work like you that I've been able to recognize those patterns and say, okay, I'm breaking free from that paradigm, because it was so subconscious. Like I did not realize that I was doing it, and so I know other people have that same issue, even if they're like mentally like determined, like me. I'm
Right.
very determined, like I'm gonna get through this, I'm gonna figure this out, I'm gonna get to the next thing. But when something's so deeply ingrained in you that you don't even subconsciously know that it's happening, it's powerful to be able to break free from that.
Yeah. And in my own story, my biggest thing was betrayal, with my parents divorcing. I didn't realize I've been operating from that in my relationships. And so in every relationship, girlfriends, friends, boyfriends, I would keep them at bay, and I'm like, what is happening? Why am I not getting a committed relationship? Why am I not having a best friend? And it's because I open up and I share my life, but then I get so vulnerable that I feel like they're gonna betray me. And so I've been able to find out where that wound occurs with our energetic body. And I had a really collapsed fourth chakra, which then is just always feeling hurt and betrayed. So
Yeah.
I really had to heal that on so many levels too. So energetics with this tool has really empowered me to really help people and serve them in a way that they've never realized they needed. Because this is such a new tool, but it also is being spread all over the world. The company, Spiritual Response Therapy, is being held classes all over the world, and not a lot of people know about it. And I'm so fortunate to be able to find it and utilize it with my gifts to support people. It's awesome.
Well, I think it's awesome because, like I was saying, like you have the intellectual piece, like you have the coaches that teach you this is how you do the systems, this is how you run your business. But when you're operating something on a spiritual level, on a subconscious level, it doesn't matter how much you know, it doesn't matter how smart you are, you'll still never get to where you want to go unless it's repaired. Would you
Right.
agree with that?
Yes, especially because we operate from that mental level, maybe emotional, but we never clear it spiritually, which is what literally covers our whole auric body. And it's all these breaks or cords that are within us that then keep us, because we can't see it, we actually can sometimes feel it. It's that thought of like, oh, I'm thinking about someone today, and then they call. We never realize that we send out an energetic line to them,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like, call me.
Yeah,
So
that sort of thing happens all
Yeah.
the time.
all the time. So I'm starting to really harness it and understand it, and then being able to interpret it for my clients.
Very cool.
Yeah.